Scrolls, where I tell you all about some of the best books out there. You've probably noticed we're on a bit of a roll with The Walking Dead, and I'm continuing it, so for this episode we're looking at Book 4. I think by now you've gotten the idea. There's a lot of zombies and there's a lot of gore and horror and all that sort of thing. That's what The Walking Dead is, and this book doesn't disappoint on that. However, like in the last one, how there was some really emotional content, this one's the same, and it actually, I guess, the TV show has become somewhat famous for doing the flashbacks, which can be a little bit confusing sometimes, but mostly you get the idea. The comic book actually does, I guess it would be like a flashback. Some of the content that we saw in book 3 is actually looked at again in book 4, but it's from a different character's perspective. So there's a lot of questions left unanswered at the end of book 3, and book 4 answers everything for you. And some of the answers I didn't really want, to be honest. It wasn't what I'd hoped, which, if you've read the book, I guess kind of makes me sound like a horrible person. But that's what it does. It challenges your morals, and at the end of the day, that's how it is. I kind of like this one because the TV show and the comic book, they're pretty different. I mean, the character of Carol in the TV show, like, we've grown to know her as this lovable badass that, she's not fazed by anything. She's this woman that was a victim of domestic violence, and, at the start she was kind of like a quivering mess, and every time that her husband even looked at her or anything, she sort of was very, like, head down, shy away, and would kind of talk to you through her forehead sort of thing. And now she's, a poncho wearing, gunslinging badass. But in the comic books, she's not like that at all. She's actually much closer to my age, and she's interesting to say the least. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read the comics, but the characters are totally different. I mean, something it's not going to spoil anything, but it shows you how different it is. And in the comics, we actually don't meet Sophia's dad. Sophie's still there. She's actually much younger. Same with Carl. They're both much, much younger. But yeah, Carol in this one, she's almost, I don't want to say she's like a detriment to the group or anything, but she sure doesn't pull her weight, I guess. Like, she looks after the kids and stuff, but she sort of causes more trouble than she solves, if that makes sense. Carol in the comics, I can't believe the difference. Like, it's quite outstanding. And in this one, you see, like, there's quite a few differences, some quite substantial. Spoilers, I'm not going to say anything. The character of Dale, you saw what happened in the TV show. It's Shane and that whole thing, and none of that happens, and then how his eventual demise comes, totally different. I like though sort of that they've done that, because it means you've got more of a reason to watch the show. I mean, I would watch the show anyway, but because there's something so different, like, you don't know what's coming around every corner, so even for the people that have read the comic books, like, we have a little bit of foresight into where the TV show's going and what's going to happen. But Kirkman and his crew change it just enough that while we've got a rough idea, we're still caught off guard just as much as anybody else. I mean, there's been deaths in the TV show that don't happen in here, and there's been deaths in here that don't happen on the TV show, so there are some stark differences. I think book 4 is when the group and Rick himself actually realise just how vulnerable and how hopeless this world is. I mean, you had an idea beforehand, but the fact that, they've got a prison and they've got a medical centre in there and all that sort of stuff, they realise that while all those things are wonderful for that group, that any other survivors that are out there are going to want it too, and not everybody wants to share the world that they're living in. You sort of can go one of Well, I was going to say two, but I guess there's kind of a few different ways. But the main contrast is you either become a complete quivering mess that just can't cope with anything, or you try to be good, but you realize that good isn't always going to keep you alive, but at least you have that sort of intent. I know in like our world, if you kill someone, even if your intent is good, you're still killing. I'm not saying that killing is okay, but in this world, like there's I guess what I'm saying is the end option is that you have no empathy, you have no remorse. You're worse than the zombies because you kill. Some of them are doing it for fun, some are for entertainment, and some are just because they can. It's not even like Morgan in the show where he has to clear it, where it's PTSD. That doesn't mean that if you have PTSD you can go kill people. But you know, there's a reason he's become completely messed up by this world. And in this one you can kind of see where they've gone too far, there's no coming back for them. They've been completely absorbed by the world and its troubles, and rather than try and fight to keep humanity going and try and bring back civilization and learn how to deal in this world like Rick and his group are doing. Rick's not perfect either, but he doesn't just kill people willy-nilly. Like, there's always a reason. It's to protect, and most of the time he's killing people that are too far gone, that don't care about other life, because like Morgan says in the show, all life is precious, and that's true. But when you're living in the post-apocalyptic world and you don't know how many other people are alive, and you don't know how long you're going to be alive, and you've got an infant and a young child to keep going, like, you're going to do anything. And if there's someone that's going to threaten them, they're gone. And I guess that's sort of fair enough. But there's characters in here that don't think like that. You're a person, you have things, they want them, they're going to kill you. And even if you don't have things, even if you're almost dead, they're going to get joy out of killing you. It's kind of scary. I think Rick and the group finally realized that the real evil, like they know that the zombies aren't the big threat, but when they see just how evil like other humans can be, I think it's a real wake-up call that you can have what you would think is the safest place, but anything you've got, other people want. So it's sort of a hopeless situation when you think of it that way. Like, there's nowhere that they can go that they're going to be totally safe, because anywhere that is safe, the next group that comes along is going to want that, and who knows what measures they're willing to take to get it. And look at me rambling again. I can't help it, I just love these books. That's all I've really got to say on this book, but there is some exciting news for Walking Dead fans. There's you remember the Telltale games, season 1 and 2 with Lee and Clementine? They're actually making another one that's based around Michonne, which I think is going to be really, really interesting. I actually haven't finished season 2 yet. I had it, but then the laptop had a fit. I'll get it eventually. But yeah, there's a new Michonne one coming out, so that's going to be